This is just a different system that you bring in there, and it's not for our consumption, it's for the bees to come in there. And you can get honey out of there, because all this through here, that's all honey. You cut that and it just pours out of it.
Those are the males, and they have like really big bulgy eyes, and the kind of rounder abdomen.
Big fat eyes.
And the other ones that have the more pointy abdomen are the females. So
or is it coming out?
I'm
not sure.
And the males, all they do is they just sit around and eat honey and pollen.
I want to get out of here.
They're only useful for 1 day out of the year, basically.
They always have a layer of insulation at the top, and then down below, that's where their brood area is. That's where they're making babies. Now in the hive, the very front of the hive is going to be where the babies are being born, and the back could be full sheets of honey, which get really, really heavy. And if you look right down here, inside here, you can see larvae. So what happens is the queen lays an egg, and then it turns into a larva, and then they cap it, and that's almost like it's being in its own cocoon. Like each individual bee is inside a little cocoon. There are bees that clean the hive, and some of them are bees that build the hive. They have all different kinds of jobs.
How long does it take for, and what are those bees over making the honey?
Yeah, they're the ones making the honey. That's their job right now, is to make the honey for everyone to eat. They get everything in nature. So,
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Aren't bees
awesome? It
awesome?
just tastes so different. Even season to season. Like I have friends who only like early spring honey, and I like really. What do you see? Do you want to see the larva? Here, look down here. Look at the very bottom down here with the magnifying glass. You see those little like worm-looking guys in there? Yeah. Those are larvae.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Take the pollen back.
Oh, cool. Brenda.
Okay. Careful.
Really
Very gentle with them.
Good job.
Again, you got the drones, you can see
What's
the
the
difference in
queen
them.
bee?
She's inside that hive because if we took her
There's
away,
a
all
bee
the
in
bees
there,
would get really
and she's a
stressed out.
worker bee.
Or jealous.
Do you have any questions?
They're jealous. You think they'd be jealous if we took the queen away? Hatches out, and the first thing they do is clean the hive, and then they take care of the baby bees. And then they move on to architecture team, then they move on to cleaning crew, and then they move on to foraging crew. So over the course of one bee's life, it'll do every job in the hive. Really? Yep.
Gets promoted.
Jaden.
So
holding a
the
bee.
females are
It's
smaller,
another drone.
and they have smaller eyes too.
There you go.
And their
Come on, buddy.
abdomen.
All right, so be really gentle, okay? Just keep your hand. Oh, come on, buddy. There you go. You don't want to get off my finger, do you?
Like, I like Laura.
I know. I'm like,
No, not the kids.
all right. So if you look way down here at the bottom, there's little tiny worms inside that comb. They look like little worms. It's called larva.
This is Laura, she's with me.
I'm
Yeah, she just started her.
You're holding a bee?
Here's where the honey is. So at some points in the hive, they'll make an entire.
I'm pretty good.
That's a bee.
Like I've adjusted to it pretty well.
What do you do? That's a boy bee. It doesn't sting, Sophie. It doesn't
Yep, they
sting.
can't hurt you. They don't sting.
No. I saw a spider over there.
Come here. Wait. When it comes out of them, it's this pure white. And the more it gets used, the darker and darker it gets. You can see this is kind of a golden brown. We have ones that are even darker than that, really, really dark brown. Every time a bee is born out of the little cells, it leaves almost like a wallpaper on the walls. And so it gets darker and darker the more bees that are born. It's really cool. And this one, you can see when they're making a new queen, this here is a queen cell. So it's a larger cell on the edge of the hive. It almost looks like a peanut. It goes about to here. So it's quite a bit larger than, the worker cells that you're seeing on the side. It's a really, really long one. They would make a new queen cell in a spot where they're hoping the queen won't find it. And then it's called supersedure, where they basically depose her of her role. And then before that queen comes out, they'll do a cuddle death, and they will gather around the queen and warm her up until she dies. Now the other way is when a hive decides it's going to split in half. And that's a swarm. So when they swarm, they'll make a cell like that one that's on the edge there. And that's when they know the hive is going to divide in half. That's the natural reproduction of a hive. Every bee being born isn't necessarily the reproduction. The full hive dividing in half is like a new animal being born.
This right here is a boy bee. You can tell because he has really big eyes and he has a round butt.
Oh.
And so it's a boy. And then the little or smaller ones are the females.
And then they move over to the architecture section and they start producing wax out of little glands on their abdomen. And then they start building.
So hold your hand out.
Grandpa's bees over there.
You ready? No, he doesn't have a stinger. Boy bees don't have stingers. Only the girl bees do.
Playing around.
They're just playing around in there?
Pretty neat, huh?
Am I holding it?
They make honey. You're right, man. You're right. Good job.
Lillian. Okay, all right.
All right, thank you very much.
Boy bees don't. Girl bees do, but boy bees don't.
Lillian, where's the bee?
They don't,
Can you point to the
do
bees?
any of the protective things for the hive.
Uh,
Those honeybees?